How far now? How's everyone doing?
Uh, I'm
Good.
good.
Hey, that's nice. Well, this is Jerry, and that's IK, and anybody can introduce themselves now. Yeah, and
Let
that's
me do, let me do like Daddy Freeze.
hey.
That Daddy
So,
Freeze movement.
how's everyone doing now? How's
IK,
it going? Oh yeah, now
IK,
ask
how
them the
Sunday
question.
there been?
Sunday, normal day,
Hmm.
resting day.
I they
Miss
miss that
Nigeria.
place, so honestly.
Miss Nigeria.
Uh,
Sunday, please.
I don't I
Oh,
don't miss I don't miss Nigeria.
oh, nothing there. Oh, if any minute, but nothing there happen. Yeah. But funny enough, as give it to us, give it to Nigerians, for our resilient nature. And I say that it's
yeah,
any without any fear or contradiction. If any country in the Western world is facing what we are facing, it will collapse. It will collapse.
honestly,
And that,
yeah.
that that's why at the end of
But
the day, the system is meant to not collapse, but to be this way. It's like you are setting it to be exactly this way. So it's neither collapsing totally or it's getting better.
and that's it.
It just stay this way.
But
That's
but
the
but
that's the
but
worst
It's
but
just
part
there.
about it.
see,
It's just
it's
there.
not collapsing. It's just there.
It's
It's
just
just there.
Anyway,
and kind.
Nigeria will be
And
great.
it
Nigeria will be
No,
great.
and
funny
it's
enough,
and it's making us
it is part of what we the topic for today, sir. It's
yeah,
interwoven.
it's
It is
it's
interwoven.
making us stronger. It makes us
Yeah,
come out stronger,
yeah,
compete
yeah.
It
No,
stronger.
does
Nigeria will
complete.
be great at the end of the day. Nigeria, it will always be great because it has great minds, great people. So we always have to believe, and someday that Nigeria will become great. I don't want to say great again, but it will become
If
great.
if all of us agree, the thing is, we have still not agreed.
No, it will become
Agreed.
great. It will become great.
When we agree, the only people that I think
No, no,
can
let's
make
let's let's not go there. Let's just say
no
it
no
will
no
become
no.
great. Let's
It's
go to
it's still part of
our
our
conversation.
discussion.
No, let's no. We have not started our discussion. Let's
Oh
go to
yeah,
our
yeah,
discussion.
start
So
with that. Start.
the thing is, our discussion now, like today we are talking about the mental health in Nigeria. So let me read one small statistics for you. So according to the World Health Organization, about 20 to 30% of Nigerians suffer from mental health disorders, but less than 10% receive any form of treatment. See, about 20 to 30%, that is around 1 out of 5 people suffer from mental illness.
Let's just say 40 million people. If we're 20 million, if we're
Yeah,
200
that's
million, if we're 200 million, then 20%, that's just about 40 million people who
so
suffer
that
from
now.
health issues.
I think the number of people that actually get any form of treatment is less than 2%. I think that 10% is just trying to give hope. Now,
But
uh, go on.
So
I wanted to
it
say
depends
something
on
that
what.
I wanted to say something so that we don't get lost. And it's also happening. I've seen a lot because maybe because my experience in the medical industry, at least the small care experience that I have. We need to really understand what is mental health first of all.
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah,
want to say.
because I think the narrative of mental health differs from between people to people, race to race, tribe to tribe. So let's,
Even country
if
to
we're
country.
country, because even if we're able to, we need to establish what mental health is, because I think that terminology is more prevalent some past few days, and maybe you're having an argument or having an engagement with anybody, and it's easy for them to flip, oh, my mental health. You see people saying, my mental health, my mental health. Did you run any tests? Have you done any psychoanalysis test to determine
Well,
if
but
your
at the
mental
same but see but at the same time see but at the same time, if somebody is telling you their mental health, because 9 out of, like, I don't want to use any numbers because I can't prove that number, but if somebody tells you that my mental health is not stable, let's not look at the extremes, because that's one thing we do. We look at the extremes.
No, I'm
Let
not
them
saying. I'm not
actually
saying.
have that mental health problems.
I'm not. If you hear me very well, I said I'm not saying people do not have. I'm saying a lot of people flip that to have you maybe back up, back up their case, or not for them to be held accountable. You understand? Because if
For
somebody tells
accountable
you
for what?
maybe certain actions, and the next thing the person's telling you, go for my mental health. You understand?
Well, no,
Especially,
the word meant, but we know that the word mental health. But first, before we even get there, first, let's look at.
let's establish what is mental health, so we can have our discussion based on what it is, so that we have an understanding that even this thing that we overlook is part of mental health. So all of us can actually talk holistically in the same direction. I also just be missing the point, bring what is not mental health
So
into
first,
it.
okay, so now let's look at, in your opinion, what is mental health?
What is mental health?
Let's look at it from everyone's perspective. Let's just go around. What is mental health?
Now they look.
Yeah, now like
Now they look. Now they look. What is mental
all right.
health?
Prince, do you want to give us what mental health is? No, do you want to give us what mental health is from your own perspective?
So when you talk, yes. So when you talk about mental health, it includes all aspect of human being. It includes emotional well-being, psychological well-being, social well-being, behavioral aspects. So among these four dimensions of human being, if any of these is found wanting, we can say the person suffering from mental breakdown. That's what
No,
mental health is all
before we
about.
even reach mental breakdowns, and you're correct, because I've just put it up. Ike, do you want to give your own go on what mental health is from your own perspective?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what Prince Will has said, which is health generally is it's well-being. You are well, you are okay. So mental health, it has to do with definitely psychological and emotional well-being. Uh, so that's what it is.
So,
Just like physical health, you are well in your mind, in your soul,
mm,
whatever you call it. You are
so
well and grounded.
Google AI here is saying that mental health encompasses our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act, and it influences how we handle. Sorry, it affects how we handle. So, someone is having excess background noise. It affects how we handle stress. Um, how we Sorry, okay, hold on. It affects how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. It's a crucial component of overall health, impacting our ability to cope with daily life, learn, work, and contribute to our community. So, this is what the internet is telling us, that mental health actually encompasses emotional, psychological, and social well being. Um, Now we have a good idea of what mental health is. I'll just stop sharing that screen now. So we can now see what mental health is now from this page. So, Occupy, does this answer your question now?
It answers my
So
question. It answers my
so
it answers
let's
my question. It answers my question, but if you, from what you populated, you can see that it is broad. It is
Yeah.
broad. It is very broad.
so let's bring it to the context of Nigeria. I think that's the that's the main discussion.
We have a show outline. That's why I'm actually following my show outline before I started defining mental health, because the outline has been drawn out. So now we are looking at the misconceptions. Now, are there spiritual in Nigeria now? Do we have like a spiritual framing of what mental health is? Do we confuse mental health? Is there a common notion in Nigeria as to what mental health is?
There's a lot of confusion because if you even look at our Mental Health Act, our Mental Health Act was only signed into law just 2023. We've been using one old act that does not incorporate what mental health is. Now, the problem that we always know, our problem at times is embedded in culture. It's embedded in tradition. It's embedded in maybe religion, and that's one of the basic things that we have. It's only back home that I keep on hearing. Let me use this Yoruba term, weary. That this person is a mad person. All the way here, I've never heard somebody say, "Oh, this person is a madman." Oh, that person is a mad. You understand? I don't think I've not heard that word, but it's a word we hear all the time that this person is a mad person. This person is a mad person. But so it tells us that we ourselves, we do not have that framework to understand what mental health is. We
Is
do
that
not
is
have
that
that
why is that why parents keep telling people that when they have problems, like you need to pray more, you need
exactly
to go and pray.
because even with our society, yeah, if they see somebody doing good, let's just say maybe you're okay, like Ike now. If Ike comes and says he has mental health issues, people look at him that no. Now, why would you have mental health issues? You have everything working out for you. But we keep on forgetting that for the fact that if I'm going from Ikorodu to the island that I walk, it distorts your thought process, your functionality. If I need to wake up as early as 4 a.m. to get a bus from Ugijo, that first 1 hour and I'll get into maybe K2 mile 12 or Jota. Then I'll now start my journey. From 4 o'clock, I get to the office at about 6:30 every day. The stress involves. Then you get to the
So
office like 6:30. So it's a call. It involves a lot that even
yeah, so
you
I
go on, talk.
okay.
No, go on,
So
talk.
I'm even looking at it in from that perspective. The Mental Health Act in Nigeria does not include this stress, does not take cognizance that you rushing for a bus, you hustling for a bus, to get to work and trying to meet the time of your work and going through all those fights, shout, yell, scream on the road are all mental stress. So from the arts, what's mental stress? The arts that talks about mental stress in Nigeria really don't include those things. What it includes are the rights-based approach, the discrimination of suicide, access to mental health services, mental health governance, training of workforce development, and
See,
safeguards against abuse. It does not even describe what it should be. Then before
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
because
how to,
I agree.
so
I
that's the
agree with what
problem.
you said. See, I agree with what you said because if somebody wants to commit suicide today in Nigeria and Nigerians find someone that's about to jump off a cliff, what do you think the first thing that will come to the people's mind to do as soon as they see that person?
It's to hold him down.
People will start beating the person.
And when
We've
I
seen, no,
was
we've
about
seen,
I was about to say that.
we've seen it before. People will start
Well,
beating the person because it has happened, and the police will
yeah.
arrest you because they will tell you that you not that you need help because we seem to use fear. We seem to use fear to manage every situation. A child is having maybe not up okay up there, is not passing in class. The parents will beat the child.
Exactly.
Um, a a student is not doing well. In fact, we don't even want to go to the fact that even a student not passing in class result to the teacher flogging the student, punishing the student for not
Ex-
being able to know something. We are not trying to
ex-
understand why is this student not understanding. Is
and
this
that
child
and
having?
that is exactly where I'm faulting the Mental Health Act
Oh no, no, I'm not saying.
because
No, I'm not even taking. But see, there's another thing that we need to fault as well. Nollywood, the idea,
mm,
even in our movies, because in as much as we would like to not pay attention to it, Nollywood, the movie industry, entertainment plays a large part in educating people, as well as the churches. In some churches, if you are seen as you have mental issues, they will tell you you have to flog this child. So you have to beat sense into the child. In Nollywood, you have
into the
a
child.
person that has mental issues, they will flog and beat that particular child. So do you think that all of these things is what actually, instead of the Mental Health Act creating the narrative, all of these factors created the narrative of what the mental health covers?
But the mental health has nothing, and the act has nothing to do with uh, Nollywood. Nollywood cannot give what they don't have, because it is also still embedded in culture. It's also still embedded in what we see around us. So if a society doesn't understand what mental health is, they can't give you that. So we need to go to the basis of actually understanding what it is. And that's why the Act does not make certain provisions. The Act does not even make provisions for
Exactly.
for funding. The Act does not make provisions that mental health should be taught in schools. So now, if a teacher who's supposed to pass that knowledge doesn't understand what mental health is, doesn't understand that the child failing could be as a result of autism, or the child not having intellectual disability, and you decide to bring out cane, you whip this child, you want to whip that child into correction, on the right path. At the end of the day, not all of us can excel academically. Not all of us will be the Bill Gates. Some
No,
people can excel.
on the contrary, I actually think that see, I won't agree with not all of us can excel academically. I think what we use, we are using one, we are using
No,
one
no, and I'm
judge.
saying excelling is you want everybody to score A. I might just be a C student, and it's
You might be
okay.
a C student in
I
one
might
thing and be a
Yes.
student in some other thing.
I'm just
That's
saying
why
averagely, I might just be a C student. You understand? Averagely, formal education would just be something I just need to just for equipment, not for me to become a nerd. Don't forget, all of us, we read we read with A1 in mind. We read with A1 in mind.
it's
We
still
read,
that one is
you,
still on that thing that still goes across to still
so
talk about our
that's it.
educational
So
system.
that is it. So that thing affects everybody's mental health. If we pass through all the
So
psychological
so
tests, all of us will be having mental health issues from when we were born. I remember at times where I'll come back with grades. Not that I did not pass well, but I know my father is going to tell you that, look, why would you get 75% overall when you have one cousin that is getting 85% or 90? So as a child, that affects you. You don't even know his mental health. You don't even know. Maybe your parents don't know his mental health. So it has its culturally. Culturally, it is there. So things will call mental health here. Back home, we'll call it witchcraft. We'll call it juju. Oh, this person has spiritual problem. Take that person to a babalawo. Take that person to a church to pray, and they flog the living daylight out of you. You understand? So it's a lot. It's a lot.
so back to what I was saying. When I was saying that when I said mental health does not really stipulate what it is and how we should see it in Nigeria, I also mean it doesn't have an age specific guideline or age specific definition. what a child should be doing, then you know that this child is having a mental health issue. What an adult at this stage should be doing, then you know that this adult at that specific age range is having a mental health issue. And what an elderly person, an aged person should be doing, then you can say he's having them. So if our mental health act, has these
You see,
stipulations.
why do you keep going to this mental health? Because I don't think, see,
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
think
no, no. That is why I keep going there. It's we are forgetting that behavior-wise, behavior well-being is also a part of mental health, and that is what we are seeing in Nigeria every day. The conductor in Ojo Eleba, where they shout, where they load car, at any slightest provocation could hit someone with broken bottle. Do you understand? So if we exactly. So if our art has guidelines on how behavior.
no, but that conductor now, whatever we want to say, that conductor will never have access to a mental health professional. Like in other countries, we have things like social workers.
Okay. Let me use the teacher that flogs a child as an example. At my let me cite instance. So if a teacher should know that she or he should behave within a confined behavior range, should know that it is wrong to flog that child. So if a child is exhibiting some behaviors that might show suspicions of mental health, you also should know that there is a limit to your act, to your response to the child's behavior. Do you see? So if there are no guidelines to put
all of this
all
comes
these
together to what
different
we call discipline.
all these various.
It's our definition of discipline till today. It's still it's still what we define as discipline. I think Priscilla is frozen. Maybe IK is frozen too because he has not said a word in like 10 minutes now. So he's moving, but he's frozen.
No, Nigeria, he's part of the Nigerian oligarchy. He's a businessman, rich man. They don't talk. They don't carry all this billionaire that they
Hey God. So no, I'm trying to would I say articulate my thoughts in my head so that I can contribute better. But
that articulation we don't need. We just need the thoughts. Just the articulate them in voice.
Raw or filtered thoughts.
Yes, that is the way it should be. I don't need your filtered thoughts.
We'll bleep 80%.
Okay, then go on. See, maybe it's your mental health speaking, and I'm sorry if I don't empathize enough.
Well, yes, maybe. I think I was going to say something when we mentioned the conductor, breaking bottle and all of that. You were saying man have access to a mental health facility or professional and all of this. I think the basic thing is if you are sick, if you have an injury or you are feeling feverish or you have whatever physical ailments, people can see it. Oh, you look tired. Oh, there's an injury here. Oh, there's this thing coming out of this part of your body, and people will take it seriously because now they are seeing that something that is not supposed to happen is happening to you, and whether they are rich or poor, they want to find a professional, doctor, whatever, a nurse, a chemist, to take care of you. But I think with mental health, people just don't know that this is a problem, right? Sometimes they ascribe it to, oh, this person is mad, or oh, there's a spiritual by village people, and
village people.
even sometimes it's masked,
and sometimes they take it that is a person's normal behavior.
Yes. So sometimes it's even masked in whatever it is masked in. Whether that stress now that we talked about is masked in whatever it is that is masking it, and people just don't see it, just don't know that this is actually a situation that you need to be treated for, aware of and managed for. So I think that's what it is. People can get access to a mental health professional, a mental health facility if they take it seriously. And Another thing is we are talking about mental health now. So people generally will be like, oh, so you mean say I'm mad? So you mean say my head no correct?
See that this is one this is one particular area I was trying to get to, because
Yeah.
there's still this strong stigmatization with somebody admitting that their mental health might not be okay. See,
Yeah.
it has either been over stigmatized or overused, like as a form of an excuse. Somebody does something, people are dragging the person online. It became a trend in the last like 5, 10 years. The
No,
person will
let's say
come out
five.
like
Let's say 5 years.
my mental health is being affected,
Mm-hmm.
so pity me. So people use mental health as a way to solicit for pity. Mental health
Mm.
is not seen as how something that is normal. A normal person without any scandal, without any issues, cannot just say my mental health is not okay right now due to
Mm-hmm.
stress. It's either due to backlash, you feeling sad or you being sorry, that they use it for. That's one spectrum. Then the other side is when they see it as a means of this person is psychologically not okay and they stigmatize you for it. You tell your
Mm-hmm.
office that, oh, my mental health is not okay right now. Are you okay? Why can't you work? This one, that one, that one. If you cannot work, someone else will do your job. Because people don't understand that I might not be psychologically sound at this time. I need some time off. So it still comes across to a large stigmatization that has been caused by movies, by churches, by religion, because religion needs to be blamed too. The churches need to be blamed too, because religion, religion, entertainment. I'm not even going to the institution self right now, because as a collective, we owe ourselves the responsibility of knowing what is right and what is wrong. But we've chosen not to, and we've portrayed it so much that everybody, if I come outside and put online that my mental health is, I'm having a mental breakdown right now, everybody will immediately say I'm running mad. We don't
Mm-hmm.
even grieve
But
in
but
Nigeria.
but then, if the institution has a larger part of the blame. Why I say this is when you talk of institution, you're talking about is mental health studied in our country in the university. It's mental are there mental health workers in different parastatals, ministries, school, in the workplaces, to discuss, to orient, to tell people what mental health is all about and how to face mental health. So is there a definition of mental health in the public setting, like in the public, what do we see as mental health? So if there is no institution to tell us all these dimensions of mental health, how do you and I now know mental health? How do you and I know about mental health? How can we say this person is going from low to high? How can we place someone when he's acting abnormal? Just imagine in a whole ministry, a federal ministry, where people strive to come to work every day. They are not paid adequately or promptly. There is hunger in the land or in the country, and these people are coming every time to work, you know, and you expect them to behave normal. So there should be an institution where they can, fall back at and say, I think I'm breaking down. There should be someone in their ministry to always talk to them and say, okay, a kind of rehabilitation, a kind of counseling. We don't even know that guidance and counselors, they are part of people that like to publicize, talk about mental health, counsel people on the mental well-being. There is also a course we read in the university in developed countries, though, that deals with mental health. So these are the dimensions we should talk about. The country should take serious when it comes to mental health.
So
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
let me
And I
give you
think
a small start before you continue. Let me give you a small start. WHO says that Nigeria has fewer than 250 psychiatrists for a population of 200 million. 250. And the average cost per session in Nigeria, as at when this study was taken, is about 10 to 25,000 naira per hour. How much is minimum wage again? Now, Nigeria only passed its first Mental Health Act in 2023. We've been talking about this Mental Health Act.
I said it now. They just passed it in 2020.
Recently, yes, replacing outdated colonial laws from 1958. So, colonials, they were the last people that cared about our mental health in 1958, and it took us until 2023
No,
before we
but
thought about creating something.
even the 1958 too, it was not really what you say was that take
No,
into
but at
context
least,
that mental health.
They
at
cared
least there
enough
was
to create
something.
a system. Yes.
See,
Yeah.
2 years
No,
later, we gained independence, and nothing was done till
No, see, yeah, it's the same thing like we said. It's cultural, it's social. It's about the way the people live their lives. Yes, since 1958, nobody thought about it to look into it or reviewed it, or somebody did. Nobody decided to put it into as an act of parliament or for it to become law. So if the people that are supposed to be custodian of all this, they themselves do not understand it. So we have a fundamental problem. The likes of the countries that talk about mental health, they just didn't grow into it. It's a process. It's a process. It took a lot of process for them to be able to narrow it down and say, okay, this is the framework that we have for this, and this is affecting people within our society. And yes, this society that we are in, the use of drugs is common. The use of wrong medication, as in placing somebody on medications for a lifetime, is common. There's also the economic stress. It's common. People flip easily. People flip easily. People don't have that patience. Don't have to. It is common, and people see it every day. Because why would somebody not? There's a story of one guy that drives DoorDash. He got into the wrong house, and you, the owner of the house, the next thing you would do is to bring out a gun to shoot. So when you have a society like that, because they have these prevalent issues, so they would definitely want to sit down and look, how do we check what's going on? So that's why you have
but we also have those type of issues in our country. It's just that we underreport.
You
know that this thing I say a lot, that in Nigeria.
I also want to disagree to a smaller extent. We have, but not as common here.
Yes, but we underreport a lot.
It is not as common here. So we're not even on the same page. We're not.
That's why in our conversation, I don't even want us to even take it out of the context of Nigeria, because lots of issues that we have in our environment, the dynamics are different. So,
but look at it this way: we cannot exist in isolation. It's not possible that, because you must have a benchmark. You must, and if you don't have a benchmark, you cannot grow. You cannot understand what you're doing. So, mental health. Is it a concept that is African, developed in Nigeria, or not? The answer is no.
Why should it be that's the thing. Why should it be something that we are adopting? It should be normal.
See, whether you like it or not, first of all, we did not even give ourselves the name Nigeria. We did not bring ourselves together. It was people that brought us together. So now, anything that we are doing, everybody tends to follow the growing, I don't want to use the word trend, but let me just use the word trend, to follow what is prevalent right now. So mental health, the consciousness of mental health, the understanding of mental health, we didn't get it from an African perspective. We did not. So in as much as we got that understanding from a developed society, it's now taking us back to now look at ourselves that, oh, really, we're having these issues too. So we will digress out of Nigeria, come back. You understand? If we need to, we'll definitely make comparisons, because you cannot grow if you don't make comparison. Is it that tells you that you are doing too much, you are doing too well, you are not doing at all. So we'll definitely talk about other countries.
No, that's not saying that we shouldn't talk about other countries. I just want us to digress from the fact that we are talking about mental health in Nigeria and why it is that way and what we can do. And I understand that. No, I'm coming. And I
If you
understand.
do not hold on, because you do not talk about other countries, then the answer to this question, it will just be yes. It will not be no anymore. It will be yes, because it's our way of life. And who are you to come and question somebody's way of life? If you understand me, it's the way we do things socially. So who are you to come and question my culture, my religion, and the way I live socially? But we are saying, hey, people have done research to say, as a human being, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your age, regardless of your tribe, regardless of where you're from, this issue of mental health cuts across. So now we need to identify, where does it cut across? Like, cuts across religion, cuts across everything. And that's when you go into human behavior. That's why the likes of people like Sigmund Freud, who is the father of psychoanalysis, and psychoanalysis is the basis of mental health. These are people that have done researches close to about 100 or so years ago. So even the society that we are talking about today did not adopt this 100 years ago. There were studies. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. So all we need to do is copy and paste. But the pasting, we also need to understand our culture. We also need to understand our religion. Because
our environment.
we need to understand and make it environment specific.
Because what is obtainable in Nigeria may not be obtainable in Ghana, may not be obtainable in the United States.
Because I don't have lights, there's no fuel. But the issues that we are facing, low-level issues, and all of these things affect.
I don't know why you are shouting though.
You see him now. You see the frustration.
He's trying to tell you about his environment. He's trying to tell you about his environment.
He's having a mental breakdown. Are you having a mental breakdown?
Yeah, I also want to talk about. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to say something about the WHO data. You know, you see where it comes, it gets bad, and it's gradually getting worse. WHO is seeing mental health in the psychiatric context of framework in Nigeria, but that is not even the actual situation. We shouldn't be seeing mental health as the number of psychiatric workers, psychiatric doctors, psychiatric nurses, psychiatric hospitals.
I think we need to start.
We should be seeing mental health. No,
we need to start.
No. See where we need to start. We need to start from the prevention. How do you evaluate if you can? I'm coming there. Wait. That's what I'm telling you. Doctors don't even evaluate. Remember, in the schools here, they have counselors. They have
schools don't evaluate for mental health. I am 100% sure that schools don't evaluate for mental health.
I'm not saying schools. In schools, there are workers of mental. There are workers for mental health.
The people that do evaluation are psychologists, professional psychologists. They are employed in schooling environment.
Jerry, I think what Prince is trying to say is that part of the mental health
psychologists are mental health workers. It shouldn't fall back to psychiatry. Prevention, it should start with evaluation with checklists. Now, there are cases they can handle in the workplace, at homes, before coming to psychiatric hospital. Hospitals are meant to handle the worst case scenarios, that the worst case where someone has failed every other intervention. The hospital is the last place, the last bus stop.
Yeah.
And that is what Nigeria has. So imagine, talk about a psychologist. How many schools have school psychologists in schools? How many ministries, how many workplaces have psychologists in their work environment?
Because
Even in oil
when,
companies.
because
So how do we evaluate mental health at workplace before going to a hospital for treatment?
For society, we say everybody kulu, everyone now we read.
because
But they tell you test
no, because if you
wait first. Let's not discountenance what I can mention something. And it's key. How does one human being cope? No light.
yes.
Just
this is why
low.
see,
No light.
this is the reason. This is the
And
reason why I
even
was saying
hold on, rookies. And even when there is light, how can the national grid at times be back up? You will have generator, noise pollution.
Yeah.
Your generator, you now have inverter. Then you now think of, let me even use the sun. You have solar. So one individual has made investments, generator, solar, inverter, because I want to have light that should be basic. That is one. Then I want to go to work. I have my own car. I want to drive to work. Where do you stay, Ike?
Ajana.
Okay, they stay at Ajah. And you want, what's not like a traffic light? I remember when Rookies was staying at Ajah. I know when he used to leave the house in the morning just to get to VR. That's like a normal drive that would take you 15 minutes. The stress you go through in traffic alone, mental stress. Let me tell you, I used to work in Apapa. In my company. If I do not leave the house as early as 5:30 or to 6, I'm going to get late. And from my house to Apapa is a 10-minute drive, but it takes 2 hours. And at times, 5 o'clock, you start calling each other. How's the light? How's the road? Coming back is forget it. You have to leave early. You spend 2 hours or so in traffic. And now that is why a lot of men fall into drinking, because if I'm driving, I get to Sulu, there's traffic in front. I get to the bar. Let me spend some time there before the road eases up. And you get home. You're already fagged out, tired. It's affecting you mentally. Maybe your kids are even waiting for you. Daddy, I'm an assignment. Or the landlord came, one house rent. So it's a lot. Compared to when you travel to one society, you come out with your car, it's about a 10-lane road for you to get to work. And you get to work, the only thing that stops you, maybe traffic lights, and that's it. So
yeah, we have so many stress.
So we have those things. We have that's causing stress. And that's why we say environment matters. All these other countries, they don't have this issue that we're dealing with. So as a worker already, mental health has given you handicap, 3 goals. Because you are starting, once you're starting already, that is one of the greatest things you're facing. And you get to the office, nobody is giving you a soft land to say, oh, well done. We understand how it's going. Then your boss will still come out and drag you, maybe for coming late. For a few minutes. Then to get to Apapa, when I'll get to the office, if I have to get to the office safe, If I even have to get, sure, for me to get to the office on time, I have to drive one way against traffic. Against traffic. One way. On the highway, one way. So that is the norm. Do you know how many accidents has happened that way? And the one way doesn't mean container also following on that one way. So tell me how stressful it is. And when you get to the office, the way we have been conditioned or programmed, it now becomes a normal. We all laugh about it and say, oh, I made it. I did that for 10 years. I did that for 10 solid years. At times I was running mad. There are times I'll park my car in streets I do not know, take a bike home. Was I being affected mentally? I was. Did I know? I did not. Because I had taken it as a way of life. What is in my head, or what is in the head of every Nigerian is to be a provider. Let them not take away that job from me. And you're there. Let's sit down and think. How can somebody be driving one way every day for 10 years to work? And it becomes the norm. It becomes a norm. It is a fundamental problem
So
that
we should
have.
be talking about how it gets better.
How it gets better. But I think the first thing that we even need to talk about is
Exactly.
yes, we've given
How?
a broader definition of mental health. If we as a people, if we cannot explain what mental health is to that village woman or that village man, we have still not done enough. Because whether we like it or not, they
It
are the
boils down
ones.
to
They are
public
the ones.
orientation. Yeah.
That public orientation. So we need to like maybe one word or two lines. What is mental health in an African perspective or a Nigerian perspective? So people tend to understand. Rookies have said something, and it's part of what I said earlier. Some people just like flip mental health so that you back off, leave me. Especially people that come online when they face backlash. You know. So it's a whole lot. So we just have to find a way around it because
Do you know in developed countries that mental psychologists, psychology as a course, psychologists as people working with under the name psychology, you know, it's taken very seriously that in every high school, middle school, elementary school, there is a school psychologist, you know, evaluating not just the child student's behavior, also teachers' behavior. And in Nigeria, we don't have that in our school setting. We don't even have that in workplace. Do you get? So, and I don't blame the schools and workplace and administrators of various workplaces, for not having psychologists in their workplace. Is there any remuneration, like any like say salary scale for psychologists in school environments?
I
What
think
is the national
I think I can.
salary
I can
carding
before
for these
I can
psychologists?
I said okay, Prince Will, before we get there, before we
Princeton.
get Prince Will, before we get to that level, we just need to go back to the fundamentals first. As a people, in our only two way we've said what mental health is, and we see that it is bigger than we think. So people need to understand how it is done.
Yeah.
There
I'm coming. I'm getting to somewhere.
There are opinion leaders
I-
like Jerry had said. If you see what Jerry said, he blames religion, he blames Nollywood. That is a start. We can use that vehicle as a means of change. Can use churches as a means of change. Who are those
Yes,
opinion leaders
exactly,
within the churches that people listen
exactly.
to? Then there can be the narrative of maybe a Nollywood focusing on educating a lot of people.
But yes, but government can take it more seriously. When government takes it more serious, these other people will fall in place. What I mean by taking it seriously is if government sees psychology as a very important aspect of work that people should, should engage in, someone should work as a psychologist, people will start taking it seriously, not just taking law, medicine, engineering, some other courses that we feel that can make our economy good or better. I feel that if government will say, okay, every school should have a psychologist, every workplace should have, people will start doing those courses and practicing it. So it's also a way
One
of
psychologist
handling
to
the
1 million
issue.
people. I mean, what's the stats?
Making our way to my picking in the talk. Picking why
No,
this boy. Come on, talk. I know
no,
this boy. I know you very well. Something is in his mind. Yeah, bring it out.
I'm
Bring it out
listening.
of your
I'm
that
listening.
you listen. You that I know. They don't know you as much as I know you. There's something bring
No,
spit it out.
I'm trying to see because
Spit it out.
we have been talking about this mental health act, and in as much as you have been talking about it, at some point I pulled it up. I was going to read through it. So let's even see what the mental health act that we want to even start talking about. Let's see what it even entails, because it will only look I would say it will look myopic of us to judge a system that we've not even tried to even look at and see what it covers.
Okay,
So, and it
you're
says
right.
here, the first one is to modernize outdated colonial law, protect human rights and dignity, integrate mental health into primary and secondary health care, establish mental health governance structures, regulate voluntary and involuntary treatments, regulation. Anybody can just go and open and say, I want to start treating people. Protects employees' rights, mandates confidentiality of patient information, promotes rights to rehabilitation and integration, accredits facilities and professionals, supports coordination across sectors, and obligates data collection and research. So I feel the basics for everything that has been said here that we're talking about has been covered. And one of what I said here, I actually agree with it. If you are going to put anything in school and all of these things, truth is, there's a saying, when money don't time for money don't reach for meeting and then they scatter. If government, yes, when time for money, because we are talking about salaries for social workers, mandating schools, there are so many other more important issues to the government that they will look at before they start looking at these things. But the easy cherries that the government can pick is mandating Nollywood. That one does not cost money. You would not depict, because do you know that smoking reduced by more than 70% among Gen Zs and millennials because they banned smoking advertisements on TV sometime in 1998, 2005 or 4. Are you aware? In Nigeria, check it, the
Yeah,
stats
I
is
know
there.
that.
I can actually check it. Smoking reduced. So there was no law put in. They just told you will not advertise it. So if you mandate movies, then you can no longer show people being beaten for these things. You can no longer use stigmatization or over dramatization of mental health in your movies. You mandate religious leaders that if you are caught preaching towards using mental health as social, because these two things, see, in Nigeria, the formal school system does not account to up to 30% of the education that is going on in Nigeria. More than 70% of education in Nigeria comes from media and the church. About 30%, it may be even less, comes from the four walls of this. Even people that even go to schools, They will not listen to their lecturer or their teacher. They will listen to their pastor 100%. So if we go to these authorities, mandate them, then as it says here in this Mental Health Act already, which is one final thing I will just ask you before I pass the mic. Primary institution, before we even get to the schools, every single health center should have a government-paid social worker, psychologist, all of these guys that can evaluate and serve as primary care providers for people. So when you stop the stigmatization, people can be able to go and say, I need to get mentally evaluated. In fact, mandate you must have at least one mental evaluation once every 5 years. Once every 5 years, you must be evaluated. Somebody is having
yeah. Okay.
So mandate it that at least once every 5 years, you must get a mental evaluation certificate. They can do it. We do it for vehicles. We do it for tinted permits. We do it for everything. Mandate it that you must get evaluated. If government is paying this staff to reduce the stigmatization, tell people, if the stigmatization of things like HIV can be reduced in Nigeria to the level that it is now, tell people at least once every 5 years or 3 years, you must go and get a mental evaluation card. That's so if you misbehave anyhow, like in advanced countries, if you drive and beat one-way traffic, they will do. They
carry them. They carry them. They go about.
Yes.
As motor license, as drivers.
Lagos has that law. We'll take it to a
yes. But we are doing the medicine after death. Why don't they use those same centers to say you must be evaluated?
Yeah.
So these are some of
the I think that's one point Prince was trying to make, before it gets to the point where it becomes a huge problem. How do we prevent it? Or maybe how do we catch it that this thing will soon be a problem and we nip it in the bud? Do you understand?
Exactly.
So I think this act now mentions primary care, secondary care, and all of that. And even, I think a couple of years ago, I was speaking to somebody that founded a mental health organization. He's a medical doctor. And he said a lot of these things, people start running helter-skelter when it has gotten, would I say, worse.
Because before it gets extremes.
Worse.
Yes. So before it gets there are just simple things that you can do. Maybe weekly check-ins or monthly check-ins that helps you stay grounded, with all of this stress. And Femi said something about, this traffic, at some point, you just park your car, get into a bar and sit down because this stress will not kill me. Do you understand? So people, we've been trying to get outlets to ease these burdens, but maybe they are not the right.
We should prioritize rest. See,
yes.
My mom never would be in support of me missing school, no matter how sick I was. It did not end in school. When I started going to work, we were still living together. I'm not feeling too fine. I want to start. Just try. And it's not just for me. It was for her as well. She did not understand that, okay, I'm not feeling too good today. I should rest. I don't know if it's FOMO that they had, but it's something that has been taught to them because most of our own education came from the media. From what she learned from her parents from the media. You know, most of our parents are educated by the media. Your mom is educated by the media, by the church and the media. That's our, we need to start treating. See, the day the government starts treating the church and the school as the biggest educational institution, the church and the media as the biggest educational systems, we'll start having progress. Because this school it does not even count up to 20% of the education we receive. Start using that to pass across the message. I think they know because when they want to to pass their message, they know.
Yes, excuse me. And there are a lot of misconceptions in the churches. You can just imagine someone having an emotional breakdown or someone having a little psychosis. They'll send the person to the church, to the pastor for prayers.
But if the government mandates that no pastor, it is a crime if a pastor recommends somebody for prayers if they are mentally ill. Government can actually do it. You understand?
Exactly.
Somebody, if you want to attend to those issues, go and collect a certificate and have a mental health person that works for you in the church. So when they bring somebody to you
take the person
For
that
you,
psychologist
exactly.
to be evaluated. Because prayer, see, that's why one of the
So
things you said at
evaluate
the beginning was
first.
prayer should not be the number one thing that people look at. Prayer is fantastic, but we should not always put prayer as the idea to lock up all of these things. So this is why I just think that if they attack the churches and this, you see, they know that the church is very influential to the way people think. They know the school is very influential. As a matter of, I feel the system is set up to even make those two institutions stronger than the four walls. Because when it's time for politics, when it's time for elections, they go to those churches. They go and pass their message across. They go to the media. They use the influencers. Yes, they go to they use the media. In fact, the church is the first priority. Then they use the media. Because recently, in 2014, politicians realized that social media was now the new hot cake. In 2014, that was the year it became a social media thing. Till now, it's still the same thing. So they know that social media is very influential. What is the government doing to mandate? It's not just by, I block Twitter, bam, because they say something that don't like me. Mandate things that will make these things not said. Instead of saying it is a crime if you, it is a crime if you say something negative about a politician. How about saying if you stigmatize somebody online, police will find you and arrest you? 5 years, trust me, 5 years, our approach on mental health will go away from either pity or anger to empathy. Because then the stigmatization will end. I can't come outside. See, the average teacher cannot come outside and say, I'm not mentally okay. And it's simply because the fact that you say that you're not mentally okay, you come outside, people will mock you for it. Davido came out the other day, I was crying online and was begging that time. He was insulted for it. People were mocking for him. They don't know the context behind that situation. But the idea is that a man is not supposed to be seen in that situation. What if he's having a mental breakdown at that time? That's why somebody can come out and insult him about his child that died. Because we don't understand the impact of these things, because we only experience it when we are the ones experiencing it. We don't understand because we are never taught how to understand these things. Well, so it just Bisha.
Yeah, I think we've made very good points have come out of this. I particularly like the point about using the religious institutions and what's the other one? Media to actually start enforcing these things. And these are very, very low-hanging fruits that we can do. I was while this was going, I was thinking about how pre-colonial times were able to deal with this, because I'm very certain that there must have been some sort of a system to deal with ailments that are not physical. It was just piqued my interest. Maybe if anybody knows, but I'm going to try and see if I can figure out.
Wait, hold on. What did you say? Say it again.
Yeah, I said pre-colonial times, how our cultures and our people were able to deal with mental health issues. Like I said, if there's a physical ailment, there's a physical ailment. They say take this thing, do this thing, do this thing. What about mental health? Issues?
You know that what you just mentioned now is still one thing that I feel like is a big thing with us. We have zero records of things before pre-colonial times. Zero, I don't say zero records, zero easily accessible records about things before colonial times. I don't even know what life was like. I consider myself to be someone that does a lot of, I would like to, if I come across something, I might not necessarily go and look for that information, but let's say I'm surfing it and I see something that interests me about history. I might dive in deep, you understand? When it's made available to me, I go into it. But that one is a different topic entirely.
That's exactly where the
about our history,
data collection in the arts comes to play.
History is no longer. I heard history is no longer a topic in schools, Nabi.
Oh yeah. They scrapped it many years. I think I was still in secondary school, but many years ago.
Imagine history not being a topic.
I think that was Obasanjo.
If you don't know your past, how can you?
But he's been studying in the university as history and international studies.
How many Nigerians? How many Nigerians? No, the international studies and history is about foreign history, not African history.
Yes, yeah, or global history.
Yes. How many Nigerians even
Global
makes it
history.
to the financial institutions? So think about it this
So
way.
one
That
of the
we don't
things,
even
one
study
of the
history.
things that will help, one of the things that can help is establishing a ministry or a parastatal that can, handle the data of mental health issue, the data from mental health.
Anytime you go see, anytime you
Having
start
all this coming together.
There's
But I'm telling you, do you know why we can say in 2014 we actually have the number of people that had cholera in Nigeria? Can you tell me why? It's because of NCDC. And it has helped in policy making.
Yeah.
It has helped in curtailing spread of diseases. And I'm telling you, if we have the same thing for mental health, see, I mean, I don't want to even use. I don't even want to even use mental health as the word. I want to use. See, we don't have anything that has behavioral science because mental health is is different thing entirely from behavioral science. Things that they work with kids, autistic children, people with learning disability, people that require. There's nothing like even special education. You understand? In terms of like, it's not other than people that study special education, we don't even have it as common knowledge that some people require special education. So it's a large field. If you are talking of our educational system or the government creating a department, or even not even necessarily, we don't even have to create. There are departments there already that this Ministry of Health should have a part of it that focuses because this infrastructure is already there. It's just that they need to just branch out into saying, okay, this section we
that's why I
prioritize
call that. That's why I say
behavior.
parastatal in the Ministry of Health.
Yeah,
It
so
may not be the
behavior,
ministry or something.
human behavior and mental psychology, and it just spreads out from there. But those laws need to be in place for them to be mandated to follow. Because if those laws are not in place, people are not following it.
It's true. See, I am very, very what am I saying? My initial disposition to maybe creating a new thing is always no, because I feel like Nigeria, we have everything.
We have everything
in terms of, yes. So let's just use one of the departments in a ministry and set up this thing that we want to do. But I think that's Principal's point, which is the most important thing is having a dedicated team that looks into these issues, which this is your job 24/7. These mental health issues, whatever goals we want to achieve in our mental health situation in the country, that's your job. That's what you are being paid to do, and ensure that things are done well. Yeah.
And if Jerry can search up anything he wants from from their database when they set up the department. Jerry, that helps. That answers the question exactly.
I see a lot of museums springing up, or I think some state governments are paying more attention to creating museums so that I can have all these archives and stuff.
Museums.
We need
But
yeah, we need to get lights first.
Oh.
See, let me tell you. See, let me tell you. 80% of our problems today will be solved if we get lights. See, if you can easily the world is going digital. We don't need if you give we are trying to catch up with a world that has already been left behind. Institutions nowadays, that schools
Jerry,
now
you're
have
correct.
you're correct. Schools now have digital libraries where set it up in one place with one server, it can serve 10 million students. Any book you have, a third world country has no business rebuilding new physical libraries again. They've already made mobile phones easily available and accessible to everybody. Look for ways to create digital systems and teach children how to find information. Because everything you need, I don't see any reason in today's world why any school should be forcing kids to go and buy books. We have everything we need, but we are trying to catch up with a world that has already been left behind. The reason why these highly developed countries can operate the way they are is because they already have these infrastructures in place. Prioritize the money instead of building multiple airports that we would never use. Why do we need many international airports? Prioritize the money
See,
in developing the important things. Lights.
yeah, like you have said, okay, a thought just came into my mind, and if government makes it like as a policy, something that's implemented, like you rightly said, the world has left us behind. Not as if the world is leaving us behind; it left us behind. And in school, make it have that accessibility. If you can ask schools to partner with the likes of HP, even if maybe it's one computer manufacturer here, anywhere, or even from China, talk to the likes of MTN and whatever, provide data specific for schools who join this program of teaching, of learning, in a new form of learning for students. Because like you rightly said, the last time I went to the library, maybe 1990,
Mm.
94.
I will never go to the library. My library is
Maybe,
my computer.
maybe 94. And ever since I was throughout my university years, I think I only went to the library. Maybe I was in year 2. So maybe year 2, that should be like 93 then. You understand? I don't. I just read. Okay, that's it. If I grew up in this era, as in I went to school in this era, I would never go to the library because I can get my information that I need. So we need to start encouraging people. We need to start, and that is why you see, teacher development, teachers engagement is a continuous process. You need teachers that also internet swim because right now,
Yes, see,
even this IT that
professional development for
professional, even this
teachers.
IT that we're talking about, very soon, AI is going to take, you might never need an IT tech anymore. There will be
No,
no
no,
basis for studying computer science
it will
anymore.
mix. See, it will mix. No, see, computer
No,
science is going
it
to
will mix.
evolve.
Yeah, it's going to
It's not
evolve.
going away. The
Yeah,
application is just what we change.
it's going to evolve different from what we know.
Yes,
So
it has already
now
started evolving.
it is evolving. It is evolving. Now you see people's doing
But
some
guess what we
certain
are
kind of
using
thing.
ChatGPT for? Guess what we are using it for? Creating pictures, telling people online. It's on X, telling people, turn this girl picture from front to back. That is because we have not been taught how to use technology.
Exactly.
Somebody that has AI, see, all they are doing, somebody that has AI, we still come and ask you a question that you could have used ChatGPT to answer.
Well, you see, let me tell you something. Nobody knows it is true learning. The day you mentioned something to me, rookies, when you said ChatGPT is your PA.
Yes,
You
so now my
said it.
PA. Where would I be without ChatGPT?
You said it, and the thing just snapped in my head. Wow. From that conversation, that thing you mentioned snapped in my head. Now, if I want to do anything, I wanted to construct a letter. I wrote a letter. I just told ChatGPT. Now, this is the letter below that I wrote. Kindly help me correct it in context and everything. And it changed the letter for me.
Should I tell you where I apply? Sorry, should I tell you where I apply? How I apply it now? That was my last year. Should I tell you now these days? Okay, I have $600. Sorry, I have 6,000 naira now. I need to pay this bill. Break down a budget for me that will last me 3 days, telling me how much I should spend each day with this amount of money. Put it in a spreadsheet and give me the best application. This AI will do while I'm doing another thing. This small thing I've told it there, it will give me proper details.
That is
It
what
reviews documents for me. Yeah, you send me a legal document, I'll put it there. Review this document. Tell me everything that benefits me and everything that I should be worried of, and give me the risk factors. It's giving me already.
Okay, now the four of us that are here, we're enlightened. We know about ChatGPT AI. but it's only you that understands how to use it, or it's only you that are using it.
So I use to a particular level.
No, just hold on. It's only that you are even using it to a particular level to use it to sort out one or two things for yourself. Right now, we've had this conversation, and I'm sure Ike goes back, Prince goes back. They want to try one or two things. So that is how it is. So the people on X or social media platforms, probably they don't have this understanding until somebody starts explaining. And don't forget, everybody on the social media space, everybody is there for one reason or the other. Some people are there just look, I want to use this thing to make money. It doesn't concern them.
Yes.
Then there's some people
How
are
to
just there
do videos.
yeah,
How to do
videos.
this.
Some
Should
people
I
are
ask
just
you
there
one
to
question?
educate. Yeah,
Should I ask
ask
one
you.
question? I want to ask. Sorry, I'll ask this question. Then this question might go round. What is the purpose of the primary education in Nigeria?
What do you mean primary education?
Primary school education in Nigeria. What is the
Well,
purpose? Can anybody in one word, like normally all of us should know it since we passed through. If I, it's even recently, I just realized that there was no clear purpose of primary education.
well,
Prince, do you know the purpose?
if you ask me, it's just me talking now. If you
The
ask me,
purpose of primary,
it's
okay.
the foundation of learning.
Okay, what about you, Prince?
Yes, it gives us the foundation for literacy, because you can't start learning ABCD in secondary school.
Good.
You learn A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3 in primary school.
Okay.
Then you
It is the
apply
foundation
it
of learning.
in a
So
higher
in your
level definition.
in your
Foundation of
secondary school,
literacy.
Okay, foundation of literacy. Thank you. Ike, what about you? Do you agree with that, Abi?
Honestly, I've never given any much thought to it, but yes, I think
Foundation
from the
of
name,
literacy.
primary, yes, it's the first stage of literacy, and they are teaching you how to
Read and
understand the
write.
world.
So that's your early from elementary, so basic literacy. Do you know I saw somewhere in a documentary that says countries shape their generational future by their priorities in their elementary education? Do you know that foundation of literacy can be changed to foundation of digital literacy? That if Nigeria prioritizes, Google has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen somebody come on WhatsApp to ask a question that they could have asked Google? It happens a lot. Please, who knows what this is? You have Google, but you're asking me. We don't use primary school like in several states in the United States now. The purpose of primary school education is to make sure that literacy is a very important word, though. Primary and maybe that initial secondary education. We can prioritize digital literacy from primary education. Make sure that every school, be it government or private, you make sure that part of what you have as a school is a laptop, a mini laptop. See, China can give us a laptop that is 40K or 50K, that we have minimal specs, but make sure that every child between the age of 12 knows how to navigate the internet and search for information and do their own research. Most adults in Nigeria till today do not know how to use the internet. We only know how to use social media. I stand to be corrected. More than 50% of Nigerian phone users, 25 years, 30, 45 years, only know how to use their mobile phone for social media purposes and communication, not as a means of finding information, research,
Because ask them what's the basis of having the phone.
No, they were not taught. They were not taught how to.
Well, even on their own to teach themselves, they're not doing it. Somebody has an iPhone 16 with 200 naira data inside to flash. You know, it's a whole lot. So it's a whole lot. So until the government, the people, we are ready for this conversation, we are ready for this narrative to say, hey, this is where I'm going. We don't need to change all the schools. We need to have a pilot scheme that say, okay, within the next 5 years, this is the direction that we're going. Anybody wants to open a new primary school or a new secondary school, you start from there. This is how you're going to do it. You connect to something. There's one manufacturer, you know. So, but we must have that policy framework. Then it still comes back to the first question. It still comes back to the first question that Ike has said, light. Light is the basics of all these things.
Naim. So
primary
we can talk
school
about
no get light. Primary
we can
school
talk
no
about
get
this in
light.
the whole day. We can talk about this in the whole
No
day.
light. So we'll go
But
talk of data.
last,
You
everything comes down to light. Everything
It
comes
comes
down
down,
to those
it comes down
basics.
to light. So now when you talk
Because
about light, you now talk about the environment. Not
before we now start
the
the environment.
primary school that I went to, when I look back, that primary school, when they built it to Jack on the education, Jack on the free education in the 1980s, when I see that primary school, this actually looks like a poultry. It's not for children. But we were happy. We were happy. Oh, they made chairs, benches that get spoiled all the time. I have one of the. Apart from the learning issue, primary school in Nigeria is fun. If you went to a public primary school, especially when it rains, we now go inside the rain, the pool of water, start playing. But it's a whole lot that we need to look and do.
Kudos.
All right.
Teachers.
Let me end this call now. Bob, we can still remain on the line now. So if you want to go, I'll just end it now while it continues. The record will continue. Just give me a